Hello. Hello from Cairo. Today is the 27th of May, 2018, and it is the 8th night of Ramadan. And I want to update you a little bit on the project, The Lost Books of Hermes. Actually, that's why I am in Cairo, to look for the lost books of Hermes, which I believe I have found, or at least part of them, here in Dar al-Kutub, the National Library of Egypt, in Cairo, on Avenue New Corniche, just north of the high-rise Hotel Conrad. So it is on the 4th floor, the section with the manuscripts, and they have more than 50,000 manuscripts. And only the descriptions of the astrological and the astronomical manuscripts is, I believe, close to 200 or 300 pages. This description, this catalog, is in Arabic only, and it contains a section on astrology. And this section has several subsections. The very early works attributed to Hermes, or translations from Greek, from Hindi, from what they call Sasanian, which is Persian, Middle Persian. This is the first section. I believe there were 5. There is a section of early Islamic astrologers until 1100. And then there is section of late Islamic astrologers. There is section of anonymous. So I went through the first section. I checked every description of every manuscript, and I have found around 14 manuscripts attributed to Hermes. Fuat Sezgin, who is a scholar, his institute is in, I believe, Frankfurt, and he has one catalog book about works in Islamic science, and there he lists the manuscripts attributed to Hermes. In Cairo, according to him, there are 2 manuscripts of Hermes, plus 1 book about the planets, plus 1 work, not book, a work about the planets, which he says has been published in a book. I could not find the book, but I believe that I found the manuscripts where these descriptions of the planets. So who is Hermes? Is he a god or a man? The Hermes that I talk about is a man, and I believe there were several of them. like the Arabic legends say. They say that there have been three. I believe that there have been more. The first from 5500 BC, the second around 2000 BC, the third around 700, 800 BC, and maybe, who knows, there are some more. And Hermes was a prophet, and he was known in the Islamic legends as Idris, the prophet Idris. So the Islamic culture thinks about Hermes as a prophet of God and respect him immensely, like each of the prophets. So there are some who say that Hermes did not exist. There are others who say that many of these works attributed to Hermes, if not all, are just they call this, let me think, pseudo epigraphic, which means that another person wrote the work and attributed and said that this is the work of Hermes. So their conception is that he did not exist. Actually, I had a friend who told me that, hey, do you know that Jesus did not exist? My answer was, look, this does not matter. Whether Jesus existed or not, it does not matter. What matters is the doctrine in the New Testament. Does it exist? Okay. The same with Hermes. What matters is the doctrine. And I believe that I can smell Hermes from thousands and thousands of years. I believe that I have seen him reading works of other authors, for example, Valens. I believe that actually the section that Valens wrote about the rising terms, the 60 rising terms, and what they mean, is coming directly from Hermes. So Hermes existed, without doubt. He was a man and he was a prophet. And actually, he was the first man to whom God revealed the knowledge of the sky and the earth and man and their unity. Actually, the name of Hermes in Akkadian is En Meduraki, which means the Lord with the wisdom, and Lord, me, wisdom, virtue, knowledge, talent, the Lord with the wisdom of the unity of sky and earth. Dur is the umbilical cord, which can be used also for unity. An is sky, and Ki is earth. And I believe that the unity, Dur, is actually man. So we have here the sky, the earth, and man in unity. So to come back to Hermes, I want to tell you a little bit of one manuscript, which is actually from the library in Paris. Just for example. And in Latin, it is called Istamacris. In Arabic, it is called the work of Hermes on the spiritualities, on the spiritual world, on the spiritual reality, which is behind the sky that we see. And in this work, Hermes has a lot of amazing ideas, conceptions, which is actually one of his characteristics. He has several characteristics which can transpire into a text, and by them we can smell him. Like one of the characteristics is that he will tell you something amazingly new, and then when you think a little bit, it will be amazingly correct, and amazingly it will square up with many other things that we know from different fields, and not directly connected with astrology. This is one of his characteristics. Another characteristic is that he does not use many words. He uses as little as possible. And also, he puts some keys here and there. For example, in the description of the rising term given by Vargas, if we look at the description of the terms of Virgo, we'll see that there he explains the meaning in case each planet throws aspect to the rising term. Sun, Venus, Mercury, all of them. But he does this only for Virgo. So guess what? Figure out the rest. So let me tell you about one of the many doctrines that I found in this book in Arabic. There is one partial medieval translation in Latin, but it is only something like 20% of the whole work, which is like, I believe, 200 pages or more. So this is only one of the doctrines here. Let me tell you about it. It is that he attributes to each planet a principle or a feeling. You'll see. And also, he says that each planet has a center in the human body, and this is organ. Okay, and also other things. These are the most important. Now, the amazing thing is that this is something which does not have equivalent, or I mean, uh, this is unknown until now. In the later astrology, this doctrine has not been transmitted. So let's start with the sun. To the sun, he gives the understanding, fahm, and the intelligence, aql. And the center is the brain. To the moon, he gives something which he says, he calls in Arabic nafs nisim, which is, if we should translate it, it is something like, let me think a little bit, the sensual ego or personality. Nafs. Nafs means ego, personality. And nisim, this is breeze or soft wind. So in the Islamic culture, there is such a term, nafs al-nisim, which they say is the nafs which comes to us and goes out with the breathing. And to the moon, he gives the guttural part of the human body, the throat and the lungs. Then follows Jupiter. Jupiter, he connects to, let me see, yeah, to something which can be translated as insight. Insight, wisdom. And amazingly, to the ability to dream up things. Hilm. And also to the ability to perceive clearly. Fitna. And in the center of Jupiter, he says, is the heart. Then follows Mars. He gives to Mars the spirit, he actually calls this spirit Rauhaniyat. And the spirit of Mars, he says, is the anger and the courage. And he gives him the liver. Then follows Mercury, which is very, very interesting thing here. He says that the spirit of Mercury is something in Arabic. This is makida, which is the ability to set traps, which can be translated the ability to figure out some smart ways of doing things. Set traps. Or this is the this part of the mind which compares things. This part of the mind which figures out details of how to do what in practical life. And the center of Mercury, according to Hermes, is the gallbladder. Then follows Saturn. He says the spirit of Saturn is the sadness, feeling gloomy, huzn. And the center is the spleen. The spleen. In the end is Venus. He says that the spirit of Venus is the desire. Al-Khas. And the center are the kidneys. Then he says that from each of these organs run 7 veins. We know about the heart, but he says that from each of these organs run 7 veins which go through the whole body of man. Not only the heart, not only the brain, but also everything of these organs. The lungs, the liver, the spleen, the kidney, and the gallbladder. So all these are in unity in the human body. And they mix according to the position of the planets in the sky. So this is only one very short example. There are many other doctrines here and also in his other manuscripts, which are amazing. This can only Hermes do. Now, let's tell you a little bit about what I have found here. As I told you, I have found around 14 manuscripts attributed to Hermes. I have found about 100 pages attributed to Tankalush, which is actually Theokros, the Babylonian. In Greek, we have only several pages. So this 107 pages of Tankalush, of Theokros, are dedicated to each degree of the zodiac and what it means when rising. To go back to Hermes, the works that I have found from Hermes, I think the most important work is one manuscript in which he talks about the solar and the lunar eclipses, what they mean. And the interesting part is that actually when I read this, I had the feeling that this is very, very, actually the doctrine is the same as in Babylonia. How do you interpret an eclipse? Well, Ptolemy writes. There are some other authors. But the way that Hermes gave in this book is the same as according to the cuneiform tablets. What is this way? You interpret an eclipse of the sun according to in which month in the Babylonian calendar, according to in which month does it happen, and does it happen in the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, or in the end of the day? Actually, this was the first doctrine of how to interpret eclipses in Mesopotamia. This goes back maybe to at least 2000 BC. A little bit later, they developed another way to interpret eclipses, but the first one was exactly this. They looked at the month and at the whether this, as I said, whether this happened in the first watch, in the second watch, or the third watch. They divided the daytime from sunrise to sunset in three, and these were the so-called watches. First watch, the sun is in the east, it has risen in beginning of the day. Second watch is the sun is in the middle of the sky, noon. And third watch is the sun is going to set, the sunset, and before the sunset, the third watch. So we have here 12 months and 3 watches. Altogether, we have 36 possible interpretations of a solar eclipse. And this is exactly the same way to interpret an eclipse as they did in Mesopotamia. I am expecting this manuscript very, very soon. May it be so, and hope to learn much more. In this book, in this work of Hermes, what is the interpretation of the eclipses? There are also many more chapters which concern other omina, other astronomical happenings on the sky. For example, and not only on the sky, he talks also about the wind, the importance of the wind. He talks also about thunder and lightning. And again, here, the thunder and the lightning again is interpreted in which month, in which day it happens. The same as in Babylonian. And the calendar used is the Babylonian. The names of the months are the Jewish names of the Babylonian months. And actually, the Jewish names of the Babylonian months only several differ in their names. Maybe three or four. So the Jewish calendar actually is a variation of the Babylonian one. It is a lunisolar calendar. The first lunar serpent that we see on the sky. The first lunar cycle after the spring equinox is the beginning of the year according to the Akkadians, to the Babylonians. The next lunar crescent is the beginning of the next month. The first month is Nisan. According to the Sumerians, there is a little bit difference. Like according to the Sumerians, the lunar crescent, the first lunar crescent visible to the naked eye after sunset. So the first lunar crescent, the lunar crescent just before the spring equinox, according to the Sumerians, is the first of Nisan. According to the Sumerians, the spring equinox must occur in the first month, Nisan. So all these chapters that I looked through about the wind, about thunder and lightning, about eclipses, and other phenomena on the sky. All of them are interpreted as they interpreted them in Mesopotamia. And I don't believe that any author from the late astrology, like Greek or Arab or medieval, I don't believe that this way of interpretation of phenomena on the sky and on Earth too, or in the atmosphere, that such interpretation in such a way is to be found in the late astrology, in the astrology after the Babylonian, the Chaldean one. No, such way of interpretation of the phenomena cannot be found in the later Greek, Roman, Arabic, medieval, Renaissance, modern astrology. This doctrine, this interpretation being the same as in ancient Mesopotamia, Babylonian, being the same with the doctrine in this manuscript, make me believe that this really comes from the depths of time. And the next step for me will be to obtain this manuscript and to check the interpretations for the eclipses, because I have the interpretations from cuneiform sources, and it will be very nice to compare them. I hope it was interesting for you. And I wish you good luck. In the end, I want to tell you about two seminars that I will hold. One is in July, from 3rd of July until the 8th of July, 2018, in the city of Varna on the Black Sea in Bulgaria. The other one will be in September in Canada, in British Columbia. So now I will show you, let me see. Okay, I will show you how to see more information about this. Okay. Okay, let's see now. Where you can get more information about this. Okay, about the seminar in Bulgaria, you can get more information from my site, babylonianastrology.com. So it is announced here, detailed description. Also, you can click here on seminar in July 2018, and you have all the information that you need here, okay? Okay, the other seminar, which is in Canada, you can get from this site here, www.clearretreats.com. Here. You can contact Karen at this number, and here she is. And about my seminar, yeah, this retreat will the retreat in Canada with astrological seminar will be, let's see, in the beginning of September. Deo volente, if God wills. The date is somewhere here. Yeah, you can get more from the Okay, where in the Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Okay, you get more September from 3rd to the 10th. Okay, we found it. Okay, so again, to the seminar in Bulgaria, you can contact me. You can find me from my site, or let me see. Yeah, you can find me from my site. Contact me. Okay, here you can write. You can send. Also, you can send me an email to Rumen underscore K underscore Kolev at yahoo.com. So it is my name, Rumen. The middle initial is K for Kirillov, K, and the last name Kolev. So it is RUMEN underscore K underscore KOLEV at yahoo.com. Okay. Now, again, I hope you had interesting time with me, and inshallah, if God wills, we'll talk more.